my first real growth strategy was taking it from 6 days a week to 7. I have to front up to those people, and I'm the architect of my own demise. If you believe that you're the hero and it's all about you, then you really are trapped. I stopped going to work on the busiest day. I hear people say it all the time, can't find good people, create systems, and the people that follow your systems are good people.
Welcome to The Business Game, the show that breaks business down into real levels, from $0 to $200 billion, so founders can see exactly where they are and what comes next. Today's guest is playing at level 2, the early builder stage. At this level, you've proven the model works. Revenue is coming in, but now you're hiring your first team, installing your first systems, and trying to stabilise delivery. The challenges? Letting go of control, managing people for the first time, and moving from chaos to consistency. The goal? Stop doing everything yourself and build a machine that runs with structure, not stress.
Let's dive in with Wayne Hutchison. Wayne, welcome.
Thank you very much, Steve. Lovely to be here.
It is Hutch, right? Everyone calls you Hutch?
Everyone except my mother.
Yeah. So if I say Wayne, that's you getting into trouble, right?
Yes, absolutely. Except it would usually be enunciated, it would be Wayne. Okay, so that's when you really know.
All right, okay, so we'll stick away from that. Let's go,
Okay.
Hutch. All right, so tell us about your business and talk us through your story and how'd you end up here?
Okay, the business is, it's morphed to many, many things, but these days it is sackyourself.com. Mm-hmm. How did I get here? Well, it's everybody thinks their own story is interesting. I left a 70-hour-a-week corporate job in New Zealand in the year 2000. I was burnt out, had a young family. They wanted me to do more. I couldn't give any more, and decided that we'd pack up and move to Australia. Mm-hmm. Not really sure what I was going to do. And anyway, I landed in small business. Which didn't take too long. The other thing that didn't take too long was being back at 70 hours again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the slap in the face, the reality of the situation that it wasn't actually about the business, it was just how I did things, I think was the first kicker for me was really, it was like something's got to change here. So we're talking the year 2000. About year 2002, I saw an ad in the newspaper for you younger people watching. That's a broad form, a broad form sheet that used to get delivered to your house.
Right?
Paper, yeah. And it said, "Learn how to sack yourself." And that was exactly what I wanted to do. So I went to the old school seminar.
Yeah.
And kind of the rest
real
was
people. Right?
Yeah, real
okay.
people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was late to it because I was working. So I came in late and everybody noticed, but the eyes lit up as to what's possible and, what I could do by doing less and having more. So from there, I jumped on board to that system. 3 years later, they offered it as a franchise. I bought the first franchise. Right. Ran that for 10 years, and then I've been running coaching, consulting, mentoring ever since.
Right, wow, that is quite a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
And interesting, you went from 70 hours to 70 hours. Right?
70 hours, 70 was, I thought it was the number for a while. So, eventually I got to 5 hours. Yeah. Wow. Which is a lot better number than 70.
And I hope everyone picked up on that, right? 5 hours.
5 hours, 5 hours.
And I think for a lot of people going, oh, come on, 5 hours a week? Is that even possible? So we'll dive into how that was possible.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it seemed like a fantasy at the time, but it's definitely possible, and it's possible for everybody.
Yeah, wow. All right, interesting. So let's talk about most people or anyone listening to this. A lot of people when they start out are what we call at level 1. So they're the owner-operator.
Yep.
They handle the majority of their business themselves. They feel like they own a business, but I think in reality, the business actually owns them.
Yeah.
So can you talk us through your journey and when did you feel that kind of happening in your own life and what was a trigger point to get out of that?
Yeah, look, I think when you start, it's all roses, and you're progressing. It's something that you've told yourself you want to do and you're excited about doing it. And like in the early days, I started a removal company. I left a transport company in New Zealand and can remember thinking on the plane, it'll be a cold day in Queensland before I get back into transport.
Wow.
And it lasted 5 days. My father had a friend who was selling a truck. He was doing removals in the weekend and making kind of grocery money. And I thought, that's great. I don't have to drive to Brisbane for a corporate job, so that'll do to start with. And what I did bring was some sort of corporate knowledge to a small, medium business. So, I understood the basics and so on. And we got lots of referrals pretty quickly, and it grew and grew and grew until I was doing stupid hours again. And it was just me. It was all me. My first real growth strategy was taking it from 6 days a week to 7.
Yep.
So that
outstanding planning.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see that was the early part of my strategy days.
Yeah.
And it worked in terms of growing revenue, but it also worked in the reverse as to shrinking my life. And I can remember sitting there Sunday night, probably with a cold beer, thinking, I've got the next 28 days booked. And I've got no choice. I have to front up to those people, and I'm the architect of my own demise.
Yeah.
And it was just feeling stuck again, and that sort of doom of how did I get back here again?
Yeah, and was that a bitter pill to swallow when you sat down that Sunday night?
Absolutely, because you think you're learning, right?
Yeah.
I'm a business owner, Steve.
Yeah.
I own a business.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've got a badge, I've got a uniform, and essentially all I did was trade one country for another, one logo for another, one destination for another, but the same big set of problems. Nothing changed.
Yeah. So why do you think, because that's not an uncommon story, right?
No.
And that's why people like you, business coaches, exist, right?
Exactly.
To help people out
I've
of it.
made a living out of it.
Yeah,
Since then.
yeah, that's right. So it's a really interesting question. It's not like working on your business, not in your business. Those sort of concepts are new, right? Yet what is it about us human beings, about entrepreneurs, about business owners, whatever, I guess, label you want to put on people going into, running their own show like that? Why do so many of those owners end up trapped in the business? Yeah,
it's so easy to do and so easy to see from the outside looking in when you have a chat to someone. Yeah. I'm not sure which year Michael Gerber wrote the E-Myth. A long time ago.
It was a while.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
If you've never read it, it's a fantastic book. Make sure you do. But he talks about the entrepreneurial seizure. Yeah. Which is essentially, look, I'm an electrician. I'm working for Phil, and Phil owns the business. Phil and I don't really get on that well, so I think I should go and be an electrician myself. Mm-hmm. So I've got all the technical skills to be an electrician. I've passed my, apprenticeship and so on. But I don't spend any time on the business skills. I just have all the technical skills, and then eventually those two will collide, and you're trapped. Mm-hmm. You're definitely trapped.
Yeah. You talk, I love this phrase you've got, is the hero owner. You talk about that and what a myth it is. And so for anyone listening, what does that look like in real life, and why is the hero owner so dangerous?
You've got to believe your own publicity at some stage, because if you didn't, you'd just go and sit in the closet. Mm-hmm. And you'd miss all your appointments. So at some stage you've got to have some self-belief. I think it's important. I think we can see when self-belief, certainly in the landscape of sport, politics, those sorts of things, you can see when self-belief, probably goes further than it should, and it doesn't help you. So you've got to believe that it's worthwhile. But if you believe that you're the hero and it's all about you, then you really are trapped, because without people, without systems, then it's all about you, and you're trapped and you can never leave. And the majority of people that I speak to at whatever stage, if you drill down the 7 questions and why did you do that and why did you do that, it's usually about freedom. It's usually about, I want to build a business where I can go when I want, do what I want to do, make as much money as I want, take as much time off as I want, just talk to the people I like talking to. And then very soon, or at some stage, they become the hero, and that all just lays out in front of them. So you can make a very good living just doing it by yourself, yes. But you can't confuse that as being a business.
Yeah. So you almost buy yourself a job or create yourself a job in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. But what you've got to be really careful for is you don't end up working for a dickhead. And that's often the case. You know, you sort of substitute Phil for another lunatic. Who's not really good at paying you that often, doesn't pay you super, doesn't care how many hours you do, all of those sorts of things. Yeah. Expects you to do things that you can't and shouldn't be doing, expects a half-assed result and so on and so on. So, yeah.
Is that hero owner concept, is that kind of hard to unwind in people, or are you able to, like you said, ask a series of questions and they go, oh, now I get it? Or do people, like a rubber band, do they bounce back to being the hero owner? Like, how does that transition work?
Yeah, look, for me it's a simple question. If I go back to the initial seminar that I went to, it was about sacking yourself, which I loved the concept of, and it seemed a smart thing to do. My problem was it was only me.
Yes.
So
your mind goes, if I sack myself, I'll lose my business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So clearly there's got to be another thing, because I can't sack myself. So I like all of what you said, except I can't sack myself. So what else have you got for me? And the question I was asked is a question that I ask these days of people in the hero trap and so on, was, George, George Bakanchev, a fantastic man. He looked at me and said, so Hutch, can I just ask you one question? And I went, yeah, absolutely. He said, so it's all about you at the moment. You're working lots of hours. You'd like to make more and do less. Do you always want it to be that way?
Ooh.
I went, no. Isn't that why I came here? He said, oh, great. So we can start then. So that's my answer. Like if you want it, if you're okay with it being like that, then you just need to be okay. Yeah. I'm okay that I'm never going to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
All right. At 5'3", the NBA is not where I'm going to play, and I'm okay with that. But if I had ambitions to still do that, then I can burn a lot of energy. Yeah. So if you're okay with it, then that's fine. But if you're not okay with it, then we can just make a start.
So are business owners sometimes addicted to their pain, so they can't leave that? Is that
It's a badge of honour.
Yeah.
It's where the hours comes from. It's like, oh, Steve, my business isn't going okay. Oh, what's wrong with your business? Oh, I'm not really quite sure. Or how often are you there? Oh, I'm there 50 hours a week. Well, there's your problem. It's 60. It's got to be 60 as a minimum. So what are you doing here? Get back and try 60. And then 60 turns to 70 and,
Yeah, there goes your Sunday.
And then goes your Sunday, and then goes your family, and all the things you said you were going to do when you were in charge get put to the back burner for that mythical day when you're successful.
Oh, that's good. The mythical day
when you're
successful.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I really love too, you've got this other concept of profits without problems, which is a really interesting term, right? Profits without problems. So tell us about that, and what do most people misunderstand about the phrase when they first hear it?
Well, it's a bit of it's a little bit of a furphy, to be honest, because there's two questions there, right? There's profits. What are your profits? And the second thing, what are your problems? Most people think it's some imaginary thing that like if you're in business, you've got to accept that you'll have low profits, high stress. That's just the way it is. That's the way it is for all my mates and so on. However, if we looked around, there are plenty of businesses that have profits without problems. So we've got to define two things. The first thing is most business owners don't know anything about their profit. They tend to be right-brained creatives. They've had that entrepreneurial seizure that took them there in the first place. So they don't understand profits. They measure turnover They don't measure profit. So they've got no concept of what profit is. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out what your profit is. And if it's not what you'd like it to be, 95% of the people I talk to usually, then we've got to establish what that should be or what you'd like that to be, and then we've got a course to head to. I created a look. It's a fancy Excel document. However, I call it the Happy Money Matrix. Right. So, which allows people to figure out, what their sales are and what their expenses are, and so on and so on. All of this stuff should be coming from from their accountants. And shout out to all my accountant friends out there. But most of them are bogged down being technicians as well. Yeah. So they're not helping people with, I talk about what's your break even. They go, what's a break even? And so on. So we determine your profit. That's the first thing. And then what are the problems getting in the way of making that profit? And then we just turn those problems inside out. Mm-hmm. Look, when you decide to go into business, you decide to take on some stuff. There's no doubt about it. Generally, in the first instance, it'll be about cash flow and people. Yeah. And they're the things that you've got to. They're the things that you've got to figure out along the way. Yeah. But there's lots of systems and processes that you can figure out. Yeah. But what we all want is profits without problems. Yeah. That's the ideal, right? Yeah. It's just like, people, so what do you do? Oh, I'm in business. Oh, it must be tough. No, I've got profits without problems. Yeah.
That's a nice answer to be able to say authentically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much profit? Fine for me. Yeah. So, there's levels. I don't want to be Elon Musk, but, I don't want to be out on the street either. So somewhere between there is your happy money.
And that's different for each person too, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's but it's different for each stage of their life. Yes. Right. So when I started business 25 years ago, my kids were 2 and 4. They're now, whatever, 25 years plus that is. Let's not do the math.
Right brain, right?
Right brain, exactly. Yeah. There's some maths there, so we can do the numbers.
And early 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mid to late 20s. They're running their own lives. There's no requirement for me. So, whereas in the earlier days, you've got, right now we're recording this in early January. School's just gone back, so we've got books, we've got uniforms, we've got sign up for the this trip and that trip.
And the sport starts again.
The sport starts and all the extracurricular stuff. Yeah. And I feel for all the business owners at the moment who may have had a quietish January and who have just got kids coming home going, hey, Dad, I want to do this. Yeah. You don't want to say no. Yeah. I run a business. I remember I said I was going to get in this business to be able to help the family do the things. Yeah. And then in the background we're going, I don't know how we're going to do that. So, profits without problems is nice.
So we did touch on it before, but I want to, I guess, drill down a little bit more into this idea of the hustle. And, a lot of founders, when they're struggling or they're trying to grow and get to the next level, they just think that more hustle will get me there in the end. So, just for a couple of months, I could work 7 days a week. It's all right, family. I won't be forever. I'll just grind a bit more. Why do you believe leverage, not effort, is the real key to unlocking at this stage?
Yeah. Good wisdom comes through a lot of poor wisdom. So, I certainly, didn't wake up one morning and just fall into this. There's no, I did my fair share of 70-hour weeks and for a long time. There's no doubt about that. So I'm not preaching something that, that I found. I found it through not wanting to do that. Hustle is it's guru talk, and
respect the hustle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and anybody that tells you that you should set aside your life for 10 years to go and build your business and then you will be successful at that stage and then you can do whatever you want after that it's just bullshit in my view. Yeah. Because you will create, I don't know anybody that's created a 1-year habit that can easily backtrack from a 1-year habit, let alone a 10-year habit. Mm-hmm. So we create habits along the way and, you go and do 70 hours for 10 years. Yeah. You might not have a family to come back to. Yeah.
or decent health or any
or
of those
decent
things,
health or whatever. So this is where the glass ceiling really rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
So the glass ceiling, of course, is made of glass, so we can see through it as to where we want to go. However, we keep butting our heads on it. Yeah. So leverage gives us the ability these days to smash through that ceiling and get to where we want to go. Archimedes famously said, "Give me a lever and a place to stand, I'll move the world." Yeah. So it's all about leverage. There's different types of leverage, but your business should be a leverage to be able to get you to where you want to be, in all areas of life. We always talk about a bigger bank balance and a bigger, life in all areas. Mm-hmm. So it needs to come in all those sorts of things. So yeah, hustle, the thing I'm probably most proud of and most famous for was I did the exact opposite, was I stopped going to work on the busiest day of the week.
Right. Wow. Was that hard though? Because if you're not there putting all the fires out, then
things burn.
It's going to burn to the ground, right?
Things burn. Yeah. They don't burn to the ground. Yeah, they don't burn.
But it could, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm worried about it. I've got to be there. If I'm not there,
your worry is so you need to leave your people with some fire extinguishers.
Yes.
So it doesn't completely burn to the ground, but it shouldn't. But what it does do is it. For me, in the removal business, Friday's the busiest day. Right. Everybody wants to move on Friday so that they can get settled in for Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So I stopped going on Fridays.
Right. Hey guys, just a quick break to thank our affiliate partner, HubSpot. We are thrilled to announce our partnership with HubSpot, the ultimate all-in-one CRM platform. HubSpot helps you streamline marketing, sales, and customer service with powerful tools to grow your business faster. From lead generation to automations, it's got you covered. By using the link in the description, you not only get to start your HubSpot journey for free, but you'll also be supporting our work here on the show. Now it's back to today's episode. Was that hard at first though?
It was a line in the sand. No, it wasn't hard to not go. I hated it.
All right. So you weren't sitting at home going, I should be at work. What's happening? I should be there.
No. However, coming in on Monday was interesting because there was a list of things that broke. Yeah, there was a list of things that I hadn't empowered people to do. Yeah. There was a list of things that only I knew and a list of people that I had to go and say sorry and send gift cards to and a variety of other things. And we did that weekly. Mm-hmm. However, I did it for 12 weeks, 80-20 principle, and that time 80% of the stuff was gone and I never went back. Wow. I've spent the last 22 years with a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, wow. That's a really interesting concept, right? The busiest day of the week, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Why the busiest day and not the quietest day?
Because the quietest day is easy to get through, right? The busiest day is where it's going to break.
Yeah.
It's where you're most involved. It's where most of the customer interaction will happen, most of the team interaction will happen, suppliers and all those sorts of things. Yeah. We also had an issue with, bad starts on Mondays. And what we figured out was it's because we didn't organise it on a Friday. Yeah, so right. Friday was so the best way to have a great Monday is organise it on Friday. Yeah. There's systems and processes in there. But if you want to see what breaks and what you're truly involved in and what you're truly holding on to, then just don't go on your busiest day.
Yeah. And what did you do when you didn't go?
What I did was, the first Friday I was doing some marketing stuff and I probably didn't. I was probably worried. Yeah. But then every Friday after that, I had a list of things to fix, systems to write, figure out why that didn't work, why that broke, why.
So you were genuinely working on the business, not in the business?
On the business, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So the call was you can ring me if it's life or death. Otherwise, just do your best effort and write it down. I'll talk to you on Monday. Yeah. And then the following Friday, it's just like, oh my goodness, I'm going to write that, and fix that, and then fix that, and then fix that. 12 weeks was all done.
Yeah. Did staff, how did they respond to that when, oh gosh, the boss isn't around? Were they able to step up or was it 50-50?
I think they thought it was a bit strange. Yeah, I think they thought it was a bit strange. However, we always, you want to be unique, like people buy differences they perceive.
Yes.
So you don't want people to perceive you the same. So we need to do things that are different if you want people to perceive that you are different. So I think they probably thought I was playing golf or something. I was okay with it. But then every Friday after that, I would come back on the Monday with, okay, here's how we're going to do this. Here's the new checklist. Here's the new system. Here's the new way that we do this.
Yeah, so I guess that they were able to see then it wasn't you sitting on your butt. Well, we're slaving away on the busiest day of the week kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And the reality is it seems like a big task, but it's Pareto again, right? It's 80-20.
Yeah.
You know, 80% of your problems are coming from 20% of the stuff.
Yes.
So you actually only need to fix 20% of it, and then 80% of the problems are gone. That leaves you with 80% of your time to fix the last 20%, which is a doddle. And by that stage, they'd kind of figured out, and they were starting to create their own. Yeah.
All right, let's dive into this concept of leverage, and in particular, I think today's big leverage point, or the hot button for everyone in business or anywhere, is AI.
Yeah.
Now you're really big on AI as leverage, right? So not some shiny kind of toy, but where are owners getting AI wrong, and what does it actually help them, or how can you use it to buy back time?
I think that's its biggest advantage is it compresses things that get done on a regular basis faster. So the menial things that need to get done can just get it's just taking those things. I came here this afternoon from a workshop that I ran this morning with a very good accounting friend that I have, his clients, and we were just talking about how to do that. And in 25 minutes, we created a mythical business. We found the ideal customer for that business. We created an offer that those ideal customers would love, that would make them stand up. And then we created a 9-week campaign to get them to buy it in about 25 minutes. So it compresses down the time. We were talking about, leverage before. In Archimedes' day, it was, the leverage or the capital was people. Those pyramids got built with lots of people, and there was some leverage involved.
Let's not go to an alternative theory of how they were built.
Keep me on track. Keep me on track,
yeah.
Steve. However, the leverage back then was people, right? And then you can have leverage in capital. You can throw money at things and make that work. Yeah. These days, it's speed. It's speed to market, speed to test.
Yeah.
Again, Drucker, the famous, management guru, you can manage what you measure. So we need to get these things out fast, test, and figure out where they're working. I was the first independent removalist to take out a full-page Yellow Pages ad. Right. In 2005.
Yeah, what, a Yellow
Pages ad again. Oh, sorry. You're going to need to Google some of these
I
things.
remember that. But
yeah, exactly.
I remember writing ads for it.
Yeah, exactly. There was no internet, right? Yeah. Think of a time there was no, Google. Yeah, exactly. There was no Google. Is there a good removalist? So you went to a trusted source, which was the Yellow Pages. Yep. If you had a full page, the perception again was you were big, you were something. So we put a full page, first independent. We were not a Grace or an Allied Pickfords or any of the big guys. Yep. Full page, it was there, one page for a full year.
Right, wow.
Okay, now you've got copywriting skills. I wish I probably had you around at the time, but we spent a lot of hours tinkering on making sure that was right. It paid for itself hundreds of times over. It cost $17,500.
Wow.
In 2004 money, 2005
That's a lot of money back then.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was a big commitment to get that done.
And you can't change it either, right? It's not like an online ad.
That's the point, right?
It's
It was
live
like,
for a
that's
whole
it. It's not like, okay, well, let's beta test a different headline.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's right. Really, let's just make sure that works. Yeah. So, the beauty these days is we can test it, we can pull it off the market, we can pull the offer out. We were doing that last week and we can do that. The do you want fries with that moments can be just, layered in there. Did that work? Didn't that work? They bought that. They didn't buy that. So AI gives you that ability to get that done quickly. Yeah. And all of the menial tasks that used to take some time can now get done quickly, seamlessly, correctly, without, the owner being involved.
Yeah.
I told the story this morning about none of this is new, right? It's just a different medium,
yes.
And a lot of people can see it like a shiny toy.
Yeah.
But back in 2005, when I was out going around people's houses, figuring out how much we were going to charge them for their move, because I'm a right brain creative, at the end of the day, I'd have 10 people that I've seen. I'd be looking at all my notes and I couldn't remember who was who, which was which. Was that the big fridge? Was that the double door? Was that? But we figured out that pretty much it was the same, right?
Yeah, okay.
So just about every proposal that got written was 80% the same. This is just 80-20.
You could almost systemize it, right?
You could almost systemize it, and we did. So my Nokia 3110.
A what?
A Nokia, exactly.
What's that?
They used to make mobile phones as well. So
this is a real trip down memory lane.
It is a trip down.
It,
I'm old, right? Look at my hair colour. So we had the team back in the at the office, and I'd leave the plumber's house, and I'd go, just left the plumber's, $2,800, paragraphs A, B, G, F.
And they copied and pasted.
It, and then as I was driving out, the email could probably ping with the proposal saying, hey, it was great to see you. Here's what it is. If you'd like to book it, this is the procedure, so on and so on. So, but what AI does that.
Yeah.
On steroids.
Yeah,
exactly.
just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that you say is that real freedom is a system, not a dream. What's the first system most business owners at level 1, where they're still in the business itself, what should they build but almost never do?
Yeah, look, without systems, it's a nightmare, isn't it? It's because you are the system and you can never leave. That's the key point I've been ramming home for 20 years. Look, I believe that you can talk. What most people do is sales, because I go like, if we don't get any money in, then what's the point of anything else? I believe it should be first touch points from your customers and onboarding, because that sets your culture. A thing that drives me batshit crazy these days is people's phone manner. Wow. People don't know how to answer the phone, but it's the first, if I'm and we can Google and we can send forms and we can do chatbots and all sorts of things today. But if you've still got a telephone answering system, or someone that answers the telephone, it's the first touch point usually for the business. And people are terrible at it,
So what should they do?
What should they do? They should have a script. They should figure out what they're going to say. They should have a script, and everybody should follow that script. Everybody should follow that script.
And even with AI, there's an example of 80% of the work done, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we had a script, and we had a long business name, right? So we came up with a script that included a pause. And at the end, you needed to, you had to finish. So it was the business name was AbFab, the stress-free movers.
Yep.
So it was, thanks for calling AbFab, the stress-free movers. Pause. You're speaking with Wayne Hutchison. First and last name. So it does two things. One, mostly if you give your name, they'll give your name. They'll go, oh, hi Wayne, it's Steve. Great. We've got Steve's name written down, pen and paper ready to go. The second thing is it says, I'm giving you my first and last name. I'm in charge of this call. I'm taking ownership.
Interesting.
So they're little psychological things, right? Yeah. So you get that right. And these things don't take long.
Yeah.
You can knock that out in 10, 15 minutes. These days it's, thanks for calling, blah, 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 blah. How can I help you?
Or press 1, press 2 if you want.
Press 2, press 3. If you'd like to know about our new things. And look, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But
it's also annoying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So level 1 systems and level 2, level 3 businesses haven't got this stuff right either. Well, it's not just heaping on the owner operators, but there's always something more you can do. There's always something. So I think onboarding, how we I don't know if you've ever walked into a business, 2 people are standing there talking about something and no one acknowledges you. Not even a most people
treat you like
understand,
a human being, right?
Most people understand that I'll be with you in 2 seconds, sort of sign language. So it's that. George said to me many, many years ago, I think we feel 1,000 times faster than we think. So I've already got a feeling about you, even before you've said anything. So
I think that can jaundice what happens from there on in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're backtracking.
Yeah.
So you can have all the fancy schmancy things in the world, But if you don't get the first part right, just start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a good place to start.
Yeah, true.
When all else fails.
Yeah. That's solid advice there.
Solid advice. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure I read that somewhere.
Yeah. You're known for being pretty blunt, Wayne. So one of the things I think you've said is that most business advice is BS.
Yeah.
What's the most common piece of advice you think actively keeps business owners stuck?
It's an ironic thing to say for someone that gives business advice, isn't it? Look, I think the worst business advice is do more.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's really what I'm talking about there. The business advice that says, get into that, mentality where you just be more, do more, cover for everybody, check every single little thing, make sure that, don't let anything go out unless it's, you've personally touched it, is a great way to, an early grave. That glass ceiling thing is, if you're not there, then hold on, you're not going to be there. And eventually someone's going to say you can't do anymore. It might be your doctor. It might be your wife. It might be your wife as she's leaving. It might be your kids at somewhere you're going to have to track back. So, and those habits are hard to, to backtrack from. So the do more advice I think is wrong, and I think that's probably where the I'll do less and leave the business on the busiest day was probably one of the best things I ever did. Right. Yeah. So if you wanted to do the maths, let's say I'm not there on a Friday. It costs me let's do basic maths. It costs you $500 to get some outsourcers or some other people in to do that. Yeah. So you're there for 12 weeks. You're away working on the business. You've invested $6,000. Yeah. My question to every owner-operator, every business owner would be, do you believe for 12 days out of the business, you could find a way to make or save $500? The answer is usually a resounding yes. Yeah. So in 12 weeks' time, you're at zero rate. You've paid for the investment there. Yeah. If you do that 2 more times, that's another $50,000 in your bank and another 50 days off that you can choose to work on or work out of the business. It's the deal of the decade. Yeah. It really is. It really is. Yeah. So the hustle mentality, the grind mentality of most, business advice, I just think it's poor. Yeah. I think it's poor. It's like, how could you do more with less?
Yeah. I suppose it's just perpetuating the hamster wheel, and there's only so fast you can run before you fall over, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you've got loose wheel nuts on the tyres in your car, driving faster isn't the best idea.
That's a good analogy too, right? Yeah. All right, Wayne, we're getting close to the end of our time today, but I'd love to ask you, what did you personally have to stop doing to stop being the bottleneck in your own business?
Yeah, I loved this question when I saw it because it took me back to a interesting time. So as the business grew, I was looking to do more work on the business than in, right? The trouble was I was the backup driver. We're a removal company, right? So I'm the backup guy. If Steve calls in sick, I'm the backup guy. So I had, my going out clothes, seeing customer type clothes, and then I had a uniform back at the office. So if someone was sick, I'd have to cancel my working on day and go and work in. So it was happening more and more. So
especially because that was the busiest day, right? So
yeah, exactly. So it was happening more and more, and I didn't go in on a Friday, so this was just other general days. So and I felt like perhaps some of the team were taking advantage of it.
Yes.
So it was like no problem. So again, through a conversation, it was, well, what's the problem? It's like, well, the problem is someone calls in sick, I have to cancel my day and go and drive the truck. I can see your problem. Okay, I can't see my problem. What is my problem? My problem is I could drive a truck. That was my problem.
Right.
That afternoon, I went to Queensland Transport. I took my license. I paid $187 and deregistered my truck license.
Right, wow.
Came back to the team, went, hey guys, I can't drive a truck anymore, don't have a license. What did you do with your license? Did you lose it? Were you drunk? What's going on? No, I deregistered my license. So here's what's going to happen. If you call in sick and you're sick, that is totally okay. However, we will not be letting our customers down. Everybody else is going to do a longer day, but we will get through. Everyone will be fine, and hopefully whoever's sick will be, back up on deck soon. Fixed it like that.
I was going to say, did absenteeism go down?
No, fixed it like that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, at that stage it was, and look, I'll be the first person to say it was at a time when we were growing quickly and the culture wasn't as good as it could have been and ended up being. However, we got through and so it was just, so if whatever your biggest bottleneck is in your business at the moment, now I say this with a
asterisk,
with a small asterisk. Yeah. If you're if you're a brain surgeon, don't go and get rid of your medical license. Yeah. However, if there are
good advice,
if there are, do we have brain surgeons? I hope there's a brain surgeons. I'm sure they should be.
They should be listening.
They should be listening in.
Yes.
But whatever it is, just go and sack yourself from that. Sack yourself from that and see what happens, and then it'll work. So that will fix that bottleneck completely. Yeah. If you can't do it anymore, you've got to find a better way.
That must have took a bit of courage, a bit of chutzpah, because or were you just fed up?
Yeah. I'm really good at flushing when I need to. If I gotta do something, thinking about it. I think what I read the other day, standing on the edge of the bridge doesn't make the water any warmer when you jump in.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So whoever said that, thank you. It's just, you just got to rip that Band-Aid off and go, and it'll fix. Yeah. It'll fix. Yeah, it's a little bit short-term pain, but it'll come right. Yeah. So
unless you can't swim, of course, I guess there's a problem. But that's another conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So these days, any truck I might drive, it's usually on a passenger license, so I don't need my truck license. But yeah.
All right, Hutch, if someone is stuck at that level now where working insane hours, not much freedom, really feeling the pain, what's the closest thing to a real cheat code you could give them right now?
I think the best cheat code is stop going on your busiest day.
Yeah. Okay.
I really do. Because and again, if you're a one-man band, if you're then clearly you've got to grow at a level that you can do that.
Yes.
But we're talking mostly with, small to medium enterprises, people that have built this and now feeling some pain. I would say stop going on your busiest day and then just see what breaks. Yeah. See what you haven't, and and you need to be humble enough to go, look, I haven't empowered these people to do it. Yeah. I haven't given them the systems. Or my way and their way are completely different. You see this with parents and teenagers, right? Clean up your room. I've cleaned up my room. You think that's cleaned up? Okay. Yeah. These are the same parents that can't understand how their teenagers can keep a job at McDonald's, right? Because how can you be you at home and be, work at McDonald's and follow systems and do the processes? And what I'd say to those parents is the difference is at McDonald's, they have systems. At homes, you do not. Yeah. My kids, God bless their little souls, they're lovely human beings, but it wasn't easy for them. Like they had system. There's a system to make your bed. There's a system to tidy your room. And if you're wondering whether you've done it right, open your wardrobe because there's a photograph of what a tidy room looks like in there. If it doesn't look like that, keep going. And it's the same with people, right? It's like if you don't want to play the game, then it doesn't make you a bad. I used to say to the girls, if you don't want to play by my rules, it doesn't make you a bad teenager. It just means you can't live here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's just the easiest way. And the best people, I hear people say it all the time, you can't find good people. Create systems, and the people that follow your systems are good people.
That's nice. All right, before we wrap up, Hutch, so for founders who are listening but they feel stuck, but they're really ambitious and really want to go up the levels in the business game, the business journey, what belief do you think they need to drop immediately if they want a business that serves their life and not consumes their life?
Yeah. Look, for me, I think it's the concept that work and life should be balanced.
Okay.
I don't believe in time management, and I don't believe in work-life balance. Work is part of life. It's just part of life. What we need to balance is your work. So the type of work you're doing and the type of the work you shouldn't be doing. So, if you're looking to get rid of something, just get rid of the work that you shouldn't be doing to free up some time to do the things that you want to do. Yeah. And it's not that hard. We hold on to things for many reasons. I'm not quite sure why. Then we end up abdicating rather than delegating, and delegating with a system, and then it doesn't work, and we say, you can't find good people. So, the work-life balance thing for me is not a thing. Work's just, it's part of your life, right? It's a different season. So just make sure that the work you're doing is getting you to where it is you want to go. The hardest thing is sitting down and figuring out where that destination is. Yeah. We just had a conversation about you should start at the beginning. Yeah. In that case, you should start at the end. Yeah. You should always start at the end and then work backwards. Yeah. What do I want this to look like? Because then you can figure out whether you're getting there or not. Yeah. Are you on track or not on track?
What if you don't know what you want it to look like? Because that wouldn't be an uncommon thing necessarily.
Absolutely not.
Would it? Yeah.
Start with version 1.0.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like a weekend.
Yeah. Right.
I'd like a weekend. I'd like 2 days off.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Stop going on Saturday and Sunday. I used to tell myself this myth. I used to clean 4 trucks on a Sunday.
Right.
Telling myself it was my thinking time.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, seriously.
Sounds like work, but anyway.
You know when I was saying you need to believe your own press? I used to say this is my thinking. It wasn't. It's just I hadn't figured out a system on how to get... I wanted the trucks clean. I didn't have a system to get the trucks cleaned in the morning. Figured out a system, and it worked perfectly, And we were talking about psychological things before too. Is it specifically in the removal business, and this will be the same for everybody's business somewhere, is that we're actually in the trust business. Mm-hmm. Can I trust all of my things with you? So if you don't look after your things, i.e. your trucks aren't clean, bits are falling off them. Yeah.
They're dirty.
There's the cabs of the trucks. Like one of the performance standards that we had was nothing on the dash. So,
no old Coke cans or lunch wrappers.
No, that's right. Yeah. Chico roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. The standard stuff. So the trucks needed to be cleaned because it's like if you look after your stuff, you'll look after mine. So, so you just got to look.
That's that feeling first before you,
100%. Yeah, exactly. So there was a system to clean the trucks at the end of the night, which was a double-edged sword because we'd clean the truck out, we'd sit at the end, then we'd go, okay, Steve, I just wanted to show you that the truck's all clean now. There's nothing left. We've emptied everything. Because if they're not sure, they ring the next morning and go, I can't find a box labelled DVDs or something. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you've shown them the truck's empty, then it's here somewhere. Reduces another telephone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, fantastic. Hutch, one of the things we like to do to get to know the person behind the mic is a rapid fire round. And so I'm going to fire 10 questions at you and get you to answer them in as succinctly and punctually as you can. So you ready to go?
Yeah, I reckon.
All right, here we go. Number 1, what's your coffee order?
A Magic.
A what? What?
It's like a double ristretto. It'll change your life.
Well, tell me what, a double ristretto on what?
It's a small cup.
Yeah.
About that big.
Yeah.
Yep. So a double ristretto and just a small amount of milk in it.
Okay. Yeah. A Magic.
A Magic.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you learn something every day, don't you? First ever job?
First ever job, travel agent.
Early riser or night owl?
Early riser.
Office or work from home?
Work from anywhere else apart from home. No office.
Right.
I'm good at coffee shops, ordering a Magic.
Yeah. Touche. Or one piece of tech you couldn't live without?
One piece of tech, smartwatch.
I
bought a smartwatch so I could be phone free.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Best investment you've ever made?
Books.
Okay. Which leads us to the next one. Book or podcast you'd recommend right now?
Happy Money by Ken Honda. It's a book.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Go-to productivity shortcut?
3-colour system day, red, yellow, green, working on, working in, and what work.
All right, fantastic. Now, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing instead, do you think?
The retirement question is, so I'm 60, right? So people go, oh, yeah, are you retired? A lot of people. I think you only retire from things you don't like doing.
Yeah.
So I love what I do, so I'll just do it at different stages, different days. I mean, I do 4 days a week now.
Yeah.
The goal is probably more like 3 this year. So, I think I'll keep doing this till, no one wants to hear me anymore, and then I'll probably still do it anyway.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Last question, Hutch. So if business truly is a game, Wayne Hutchison, how do you define winning?
Yeah. Do what you love doing for the people who love what you do, when you want to do it, from where you want to do it, whenever you want to do it.
Nice.
Making the money you want to make, that's winning.
Yeah. All right, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Wayne Hutchison, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been great.
And if people want to find you online, where can they locate you?
They can probably find me at Wayne Hutchison on LinkedIn or sackyourself.com.
All right, fantastic. All right, well, that's all we've got time for today, folks. If this episode resonated with you, follow The Business Game on your platform of choice so you'll keep hearing more episodes like this. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Business Game.
This is the